I'm glad the Gang of Eight, as you call it, are getting the classified information. That's going to be very important. Here's my biggest concern, and you know a lot more about this than I do. So when President Trump was in office, we had an alliance, one that I never thought I'd see in our lifetime. The U.S., Israel, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, the Saudis, the Emirates. I didn't think I'd see that in our lifetime, but we had it all against Iranian hegemony and a nuclear armed Iran. That is now deteriorated. And I believe because the world has watched and witnessed a cognitive mess as a U.S. president. And for example, Saudi Arabia has now aligned itself with China. China brokered a deal between the Saudis and the Iranians, is now brokering a deal between the Saudis and the Syrians. Now we have Egypt, where we send money to. They're going to be sending weaponry and help to Russia to aid in their battle against Ukraine. They were supposed to be our ally. They get billions of our dollars. My question is this. Now, from my perspective, I believe we are witnessing a new axis of evil emerge. Am I wrong, number one? And number two, am I wrong in thinking Joe Biden is incapable of dealing with it?
So, I mean, Sean, you just outlined a lot of what I was going to say. Look, we have a world that realizes we have a president that can barely put together complete sentences, appears incoherent, oftentimes doesn't even know where he is in many cases in some of these places, that allowed spy balloons to be flown over our head, that abandoned billions of dollars of American military equipment left over into the hands of the Taliban, and spends all day talking about electric vehicles and solar panels that he knows we're going to have to buy from China. We have a justice system that indicts political opponents and former presidents and leading presidential candidates, a justice system that infiltrates sources and tries to spy on Catholic churches, but allows criminals to destroy San Francisco and Baltimore and Detroit and Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles and Manhattan, you name it. We have a military that doesn't spend its time talking about new weapon systems or how to care for veterans that are committing suicides at historic rates. They spend their time talking about transgender issues and all kinds of racial disparity stuff, not defending our country. We have a media that's become a joke, a media that's wasted 2.5 years of our time on a Russia collusion situation. Then they moved on from that to cover up the Hunter Biden situation. That's now a full-blown investigation. Our universities are a forum for crazy things to happen. You can't even speak on a university campus. People being assaulted by men wearing dresses and these violent protests and shutting down speech. And our culture, what we focused on as a culture? We're focused on the fact that now some man pretending to be a woman gets paid millions of dollars to sell Nike sports bras and Bud Light. So the world looks at that and says, this place is a laughingstock, and they react to it. And I could go on for an hour about all the things that we are being embarrassed on the world stage. Our adversaries are taking advantage of it, and our friends are saying, hey, we may have to go on our own here because these guys look like they're about to commit societal suicide.